Hello, hello, and welcome to Fine, I'll Talk About It, the podcast where we say the quiet parts out loud. Real talk, straight to the point, no fake positivity. I'm your host, Danielle Young, and today I'm joined by Christy Scarpeano. Christy has a bachelor's degree from Rutgers University, a master's degree from Purdue University in speech language pathology, and is the author of Missing Pieces. And today we're talking about healing after tragedy, PTSD, toxic positivity, and what it means to actually go on a healing journey. Christy, welcome to Fine, I'll Talk About It.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm really glad to be here and have an opportunity to share my story because it's kind of a long one. I feel like I am probably one of the few people that can say that they've been on a journey with PTSD for 48 years.
Yeah,
And it is still a journey. As I'll talk about what happened to me, I find that healing from PTSD is like peeling off the layers of an onion. There's those surface parts that you first start with, like the hallucinations, the nightmares, the flashbacks, the triggers. Those are like, even those are really severe, those are the top layers. And as time goes on, you find more things. Like I recently found some new things that I need to work on 48 years later. Um, so it never goes away and there's always new things. And I think that's one of the surprising things for a lot of people is that new things crop up, things you didn't even realize.
right. We have those repressed memories and, everything that pops up with unhealed wounds that are still stuck. And we thought we've healed, but they come up and it's like, okay, we need to work on this again.
Yes.
We just need to keep working on this. So take us back
Okay.
to the event that
Okay. Well,
started.
my trauma journey is probably pretty intense. And I am just going to say that as you listen to my story, it's the traumas don't have to be the same to manifest the same symptoms or similar symptoms or affect your life. So kind of keep that in mind as you hear what I have to say, because it's truly different. Um, in 1977, in between going to Rutgers and then going to do my graduate degree at Purdue, I worked as a receptionist at Mobile Oil Corporation in New York City. And my job was to interview applicants that just walked in off of 42nd Street. And this one particular morning, a woman walked in about 10 of 9, and she filled out an application and she started to walk out of the office with it. And that was something that wasn't allowed. I had to keep all of that for documentation. So I asked her to give it back and she refused. And we ended up having a little argument. And at which point I pretty much grabbed it from her and she ran out. So about an hour later, I had been talking to a few other people in the office, and my boss went out and bought some coffee, brought it back, and I left my desk to go get my cup of coffee. I took about 5 steps, and then at some point in time, I found myself on the other side of the office on the floor under a large plant.
Mm.
As it turns out, skipping a lot of details, the woman who had walked in was a terrorist from the FALN. She left a bomb in an umbrella on a coat rack about 10 feet from my desk.
Wow.
Had I not walked away, I would not be on this podcast today. um,
Can you just explain what FALM is for those who don't know?
it is a Puerto Rican terrorist group that they were wanting freedom for Puerto Rico, and they were bombing several corporations in New York City that particular day. And in fact, 100,000 people were evacuated from New York that day because of all of the threats. So it wasn't a small thing. It was a big thing, a
It
big
was this.
political thing.
Got it.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
the whole front of our building was blown out into the street. So, when people hear bomb, they don't really picture what that is. But believe me, when I did come to, I I didn't even know if I was alive. Everything was so, um, it was different. Everything was destroyed. The smell, the destruction. Um, so that whole day, um, was just being taken to different buildings and being evacuated again. Um, and following that, I did not go back to work again. My father sent me to Bermuda for a couple of weeks to kind of get me away from the media, which did not help because when I came back, uh, the FBI considered me to be a flight risk, and I was handcuffed at the airport and taken in for more questioning. So
Wow.
you add that to my trauma. And for 3 years, I did go to grad school, but for 3 years after that, I was interrogated by the FBI and New York Police Department um, because I had interacted with the person that they had connected to the crime, the bombing. And I eventually testified against her in a murder trial. So all that is the original incident. Not one thing, but many things. So
Yeah.
really, it's more of a complex PTSD because it lasted for 3 years. Um, the
The
other
trial.
compounding, pardon?
The trial. The trial lasted for 3
No,
years?
no, all the interrogation lasted 3 years. The
Oh,
trial only lasted 4 days. Four
that's right.
days.
Okay. Got it.
But the one of the difficult parts for me was that at that time in late 70s and 80s and 90s, PTSD was not a trauma diagnosis. No one knew what it was. Um, Neither was closed head injury. So even though I walked out of there, um, and because I wasn't bleeding and I had all my limbs, I was walking and talking, I was okay, but I was not okay.
Right.
Um, So I pretty much went without any treatment at all for about 5 years. So I had learning problems, nightmares, um, eating problems, sleeping problems, hallucinations, um, flashbacks, um, a lot of triggers. If I saw anybody wearing sunglasses, a straw hat, carrying an umbrella, if it was raining, those were all things that left me totally incapacitated. Um,
Wow. Which are everyday things if you're living in New York.
yeah, yep. So I had to push my way through it. And the problem with it for me was that my feelings and behaviors weren't validated by anybody. Um, I heard a lot of you'll get over it, forgive and forget,
Yeah.
move on. And I just couldn't move on.
How were
Um,
your parents reacting to the
um, my parents were not supportive at all. My parents, I have an Italian family. I don't look Italian, but I am. And, at that point in time in the 70s and just given the culture, um, we didn't talk about emotions. And stating that you needed help or if you had any emotional problems, then you were weak. And they didn't want any marks on the family with somebody with an emotional problem. So it got swept under the carpet.
Yeah,
Um,
which is so
and
common.
and in fact, recently, my parents both have passed away, but I was talking to my sister, and as I was giving her my book, and I realized that she totally had changed the story to fit her perceptions or to fit her beliefs, um, and kind of dismissed how bad it was for me. It was kind of
Oh,
like, you were fine. You had your dogs. You had your career. Everything was good. And I
mm,
know because I was there. And I was like, wait a minute.
yeah.
You were not there. And that's not how it was. But that to me, that's one of the pieces of the onion I need to peel off right now because I had no idea that my family members had dismissed the effect on me so much that they totally changed the story.
Wow.
So those are things that make it very hard, because that adds to your trauma. If you don't have anyone who's going to listen to you or
Right.
validate your feelings, or make you feel um, like you're not accurate in how you feel. I mean, we know how we feel.
Right. Well, it's especially hard when it's your family. They're the people that are supposed to believe you.
They did not. They did not.
Yeah.
And never spoke to me about it.
Mm.
And in fact, my sister said to me, "Well, we were also worried about you." And I said, "Really? Like, how did I not know that?" And she said, "Well, I used to talk to mom about it on the phone." Did you talk to me?
Yeah. Like this would have been
Did you
useful
ever call
information.
me or come visit me or nope.
Lovely families.
Yeah. Yeah. So families are not always supportive. Um,
Yeah. Unfortunately.
yeah.
So that just came to light recently.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
that's a
yeah.
long time to not realize that. But
Yeah. Wow. So once you realized, or once you were having all of these things happen to you, when did you realize that it was PTSD? Like when were you able to get help, and did you go into therapy? Like what was the beginning of your healing journey?
I tried therapy like in 1980 while I was going through the trial, testifying. And the therapists I went to were not helpful at all. They didn't understand trauma. They tried talking about things that had nothing to do with what I needed. Um, so I quit.
Yeah,
um,
understandable.
which I think happens to a lot of people, even now, that
Mhm.
they're not getting what they need from their therapist. So they quit.
Yeah.
Um, I eventually, probably 5 years after the terrorist attack, I found a therapist who worked with uh, people who um, had um, abusive relationships. And she was very good. She understood trauma. And I worked on and off with this woman for about 30 years. Um, a lot of talk therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, but she addressed what my concerns were and other things that she thought I needed to talk about. Certainly, I don't know everything being the patient, but um, she was very, very helpful. But I still wasn't diagnosed with anything. I knew what I had, it was reminiscent of the trauma, but, there were a lot of other things that were happening. I had a lot of OCD tendencies. I was hyper vigilant. I was always looking over my shoulder. I didn't feel safe. There were so many places I avoided, things I wouldn't do, um, because I didn't feel safe and because I was afraid somebody was going to ask me something that would be a trigger.
Yeah.
Um, so I just avoided a lot. And did not get addicted to any substances, but got addicted to running. Um, kind of got addicted to dog breeding and dog showing. So those were kind of healthy addictions, but I was hyper focused on those two things for many years.
Hmm.
Um, but when was I diagnosed? 2015.
Wow. So you went from late 1970s to 2015 with no diagnosis whatsoever.
Correct. Correct. I had been discharged from therapy and I still wasn't right. And with 9/11, the Boston Marathon bombing, I started having symptoms again. They were coming back stronger and stronger. Um, and I had this pain in my shoulder and pain in my head. Could not get rid of it. And I tried, meditation, all kinds of things, whatever I could find. Um, and nothing was making it go away. So a friend of mine said, "Have you ever heard of EMDR?" And I hadn't. So I found a provider and had an EMDR, and that was life-changing for me.
Hmm.
But my first visit, he said to me, "You have PTSD." I didn't even know what that was. I had to go home and Google it. Like, what is PTSD? No clue. And then I
Yeah.
was like, a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, because now I knew that I wasn't crazy and that there was a reason for all of these behaviors and thoughts and stuff that had been going on, that it was a silent battle. And I, that was so helpful to know, to have a name
Yeah.
for what it was or what it is.
Yeah. How did you react when he when you were officially diagnosed with PTSD? Were you like, okay, hooray, or was it another label for
No, it
you?
wasn't another label to me. It had a lot of meaning, and it was, I wouldn't say it was hooray, but it was a huge relief. Like, there really is something. There really is a name. I mean, as a speech language pathologist, you don't like to categorize people, but there's names for things, for clusters of symptoms. Um, and I never had a name for what I had. And it was like, where's all this coming from? And I had memory problems. I still do, executive functioning issues, word retrieval deficits. Where's all that stuff coming from? And I never had any answers other than, well, if you could just kind of get rid of that trauma and release yourself from the past, then it would all go away.
Yeah. Just let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
Time
Yeah,
heals
let it go.
everything. Let it go. I love it. Yeah. People who have never been through that level of trauma, just, giving advice. It's great.
Wanted to let it go. Believe me,
Yeah. No one wants to hang on to
I did not
anything
want to
like
hang
that.
on to that stuff. I was
Right.
When I finally went for EMDR, I mean, the therapist told me I was so ready. I mean, we got everything done in like 2 sessions, which is really unusual. But I had had
Yeah.
so many years of therapy and had been working so hard to get rid of this negativity, garbage, whatever it was inside of me. I needed it out. I really needed it out.
Yeah.
Um, and I was so grateful to finally be free of that. Because when I was finished with that one session of EMDR, I was a different person at the end of the session.
Mm,
It was that dramatic for me.
yeah. EMDR is super powerful. I do recommend it for people who have been through any kind of trauma.
It's not easy. It is not
No,
easy. But
no,
the way I
no.
looked at it was, I had been living with pain every day for 30 years. What's a little bit more pain if it's going to get rid of it or make it better? I was like,
Yeah,
let's do anything, please. Um,
yeah. I've done EMDR and it is a lifesaver. Yeah, it is truly a lifesaver. So anyone out there listening, if you've considered it, do it. It will help. It will save your life.
Yep. My nightmares were gone. I could never relive the event again. I tried. Well, can I get back in there?
Yeah.
Couldn't. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
I'd get,
test this.
because when you have a flashback, I mean, I could smell the smell. I could see blood on the wall. I could feel the pressure of the air around me from the explosion. I was literally there. And now I can't get back into that. I can't feel that again. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what did life look like after EMDR for you? Like, did you keep on a healing journey? Like,
Yeah,
what?
still on a healing journey. I started learning more about PTSD, because I'm curious. And this particular therapist suggested that I write a book. And I was like, no, like, who's going to want to read about my life? Right? Who cares? Um, But over a couple of years, I mean, I had always journaled a lot. Um, so I thought, you know what, I'll try to recreate things for myself, and try to fill in some of the holes in my life, because a good part of my life before EMDR is the big black hole. I
Mm.
don't remember much of anything. Um, so I started writing, and as I was writing and doing research, didn't I find some other people who were survivors or who had family members that were killed in other FALN attacks? Um, there was suddenly a whole network of people that I found that just continued to help me heal.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
I've met more and more people, and it's been sad that we met under these circumstances. But on the other hand, the level of understanding and the power and strength in the room when you have people who've sustained trauma in the room is just, I can't even explain it. It's just so healing and so powerful.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, and they believed you.
Yes.
You know, here's your here's this group of people that you've never met before, but you all have a common thread,
Yeah.
and they actually believed what you were going through. That you had this, PTSD. And I mean, how was that? Knowing that, you were getting all of this pushback from people who knew you and loved you, but yet here you were finding strength and solace in with strangers.
Strangers.
Like, how is that?
That was, it was very powerful. Um, it was, it, it kind of completed me in a way, it kind of validated who I am and what I've been through. The part that I struggled with, and I still struggle with this a little bit, is they called me brave. They called me strong.
Mm,
Um, Brave because I confronted a terrorist. I didn't know she was a terrorist. I just thought she was a crazy person from the street, quite honestly.
yeah.
But I
Well,
got her fingerprints, which connected her to the crime. And she is the only terrorist in this group that has been connected to a specific crime because of what I did. Um, and there is a movement to get justice for these crimes, because some of our presidents have released all of these people from prison and they are free. Um, so
that's not good.
that's another whole nother story. But um, so being called brave and doing something to bring closure was not something I expected, or even thought about. Expect is not really the right word, but thought about. And I just always thought of myself as more of a victim and having all these difficulties rather than someone who did something really positive, and strong. So that's a whole new way of thinking about myself, that I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I
Well, I
think
mean,
any survivor or anyone who's had any kind of trauma, we're all strong, but it's believing that.
yes. Yeah. You don't feel strong in the moment. You don't feel strong when you're going through the panic attacks and when you're having the repressed memories and, when you're remembering what happened and, you're going back and revisiting it. You don't feel strong in those moments. It's the moments where, I know for me, when I look back on my abuse, it's those moments where I can look back and say, I survived that and I'm here, that I feel strong and brave. I mean, do you look back on that moment and then look at where your life is now and say, you know what? I am strong, I am brave.
I feel that way now. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like I have my life back. I have my identity back. I lost my identity. I was not born Christiane. I was born Jane Margaret. And the day of the explosion, Jane died. The soul died. I had no clue who I was. I forgot I played the violin. The only reason I knew I was going to graduate school was I had the application and a plane ticket.
Oh, wow. So you lost quite a bit of space and time.
Yeah, I knew nothing. So I was like, I'm not Jane. I don't even know who that is. And I asked my mother if she was ever going to name me something else. And she said, oh, I wanted to name you Christiane. I was like, that's it.
I'll
I'm
take it.
picking that.
So you have basically reinvented yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. I had to reinvent who I was and but now I feel like there's a piece of Jane that's back. That there's
Mm,
definitely the Christiane that I've created, but there's also some Jane things that have resurfaced, which is a warm and fuzzy feeling.
yeah. So what does Jane think of Christiane? What would she think of Christiane?
Well, that's an interesting question. Um, I think Jane is pretty proud of what I've become, and that I have. When I was Jane, I was always a very positive, upbeat person, and I loved everything joyful and everything good and um, everything beautiful and creative. And Jane's happy that that's back in Christiane now. That I've started playing with watercolors again, and that I wrote a book which was actually very creative because it started out as documentary and, and ended up as memoir in what I consider to be a lovely story. So that was a creative side. I had to learn a lot about how to write that style. Um, that was lovely. Yeah, I find the joy in every day and everything now, and it's not a struggle. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. That you've taken that old identity, reinvented yourself, but you still connect with that old identity and just formed a new relationship with her.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
it kind of blends. I mean, I have friends that knew me when I was Jane, um, and most of them have asked if they can still call me Jane, and I let them.
Yeah.
It's fine. But there's now been a kind of blending of who I was and who I am with those people because I still keep in touch with them. So um, it's definitely been a life experience for sure in blending that. But um, it's for a lot of reasons people can lose who they are and lose their identity. And particularly if you have memory loss, your past memories play a big part in identifying who you are or defining who you are, and what you like and what you don't like. And if you don't know any of that, um, it's horrible. It's just like you're walking around in a fog all the time. Um, so it's been wonderful to reconnect to everything.
Yeah. I'll bet. Wow. That's awesome. And I'm so glad that you were able to reconnect to that part of you that, you know, I almost want to say like childlike wonder, the watercolors and,
The curiosity
the
part, the curious
curiosity,
part of
the
me, uh,
artistic part.
that part was gone for a long time. I had kind of flat emotions. I kind of was to say I was kind of like an actor. There was the real me that I really couldn't get in touch with, and then there was the way I was out in the world. But as far as like connecting with all that stuff that I really loved that has emotion tied to it, I couldn't do it. Um, but I can now, and it's wonderful.
It's
And
so neat.
am I a good artist? No.
Well, it doesn't
But I
matter.
enjoy painting.
Yeah, that's what matters,
That's
right?
the
It's
part
just,
that's good. That's the
yeah.
part that's good about it, yeah.
So let's talk about that toxic positivity that was in your life. Are you still facing that even today with the people who knew you back then? Are they still or even people who you know now?
Sometimes. I think a lot less, certainly a lot less. I think a lot of people, I expected some interesting comments about my book. And most of the time, I'm getting comments like, oh my gosh, I never knew that that happened to you. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad that you're doing better. Those are lovely comments. And
Yeah.
that's all I thrive on those. Um, Sometimes people will say things that I know it comes from a good place, but they're still hurtful. They don't hurt me anymore because I've put up a shield and I just don't internalize those comments anymore like I used to. Um, but still can be bothersome. Um, Things like the comment that I get now that bothers me is, well, you're really lucky you survived. Or
Yeah.
it could have been you that died. If you had not walked away, you would have died. Well, I
Yeah.
know that.
Like your consolation prize for surviving it is life. Yeah.
Was that lucky?
Mm,
I mean, look what it left me with.
yeah.
I don't know that that was particularly, I don't know, I kind of think lucky is good. And
Yeah. Wrong choice of words, but
yeah,
mm, I think I think a lot of it has to do with people just don't understand. They don't know what to say.
yeah,
And
agree.
that's just such a common thing to say. Well, you're so lucky you survived. Well, I don't look at it as lucky. I look at it as been dealt a lifetime worth of trauma now that I've had to fish
Yeah,
through and deal with.
yeah.
So for those people who are out there who don't know what to say, as someone who's experienced all of these, you're lucky and all the things that you've heard, what would you advise those people who don't know what to say?
Well, you don't have to say anything to try to make the person feel better or try to fix them. I think that's huge because sometimes when you try to do that, that's when the funky words come out. They
Yeah.
aren't helpful. But just acknowledging that how that person feels, or that must have been horrible for you, or I'm so glad you're on the other side of it now, or I never knew. If I had known, I could have been more supportive, or that kind of comment. That's all you need to say. And it doesn't have to be an extended conversation. You don't have to try to fix it. Can't fix it. Can't fix me. It's what's done is done.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just listening, just listening and being there.
Yeah, listening is super important and really just not giving advice. Like, if you haven't been there, listen to the person, just don't give advice. Well, I don't should the person. I think it's
But here's a question you shouldn't ask. My husband asked me this question like 6 months ago. So when do you think you're going to be all better?
the day after never, buddy.
Honestly, my whole history. He's read my book, I don't know how many times. He said, so when do you
Yeah.
think you're going to be all better? And I was like, are you kidding me?
Thanks, hubs.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's a major misconception is people think we go on this healing journey, we've healed. We're done. It's over. We just like and done. And that's could not be farther from the truth, It's you, the whole time heals all wounds thing is such crap
Oh,
because you
gosh, yes.
because you really time just makes it worse if you don't work on it and heal it. And I mean, what about your experience? Like, what have you experienced now that you're pretty much on the other side of it, but you're still dealing, with the daily healing? And we all do. We all have the daily healing things we do. Do you ever go back and think that you're never going to be healed? Like, do you
You
have
know
those
what? I
thoughts?
think everybody's got problems. Everybody's
Yeah.
got something going on, right?
Yeah.
I have done amazingly well. My life is full. Do I have some issues? Yes, I do. I know what they are, and I will just continue to deal with them. But there's a lot of other things I don't have. you
Right.
know, um, it's life. And I don't care that I'm never totally healed because I'm functional, I'm happy, I've got tools. Um, I couldn't be any better. There's always going to be something. And as I said, everybody's got something going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way it is. As I said to my husband, you didn't know me when I was really bad. You wouldn't have wanted to know me, and you wouldn't have wanted to marry me either. so, so it's like I'm an amazing person now compared to who I was 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, there's some things like I shouldn't go to big concerts anymore because I had a panic attack at a concert and we had to leave. And that was 2 years ago. Um,
Do you know where that came from?
I do. There was a big concert. There were a lot of people there. Everybody was partying it up. So it was a rowdy crowd. And I was already feeling kind of closed in because people
Mm.
were like kept crawling over me to get drinks and food and stuff, So I was already feeling, and I'm small. I'm 4'9", I'm 90 pounds. I'm not a big person. So I already felt like really enclosed. And they flashed the evacuation procedure up and talked a lot about how to evacuate.
Oh,
And that just did me in because I started thinking, if we have to evacuate, we're never going to get out of here. These people
yeah.
are not aware enough to follow the directions. Let's put it that way. And I, as time went on and the crowd got rowdier, I just couldn't stay. That I just felt this huge pressure and things were closing in on me, and I left. And then I said to Bill, I can't go back in there. I can't. You can go in there and said, I'll go outside. I'll sit outside. I don't care. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I felt physically ill. And then I felt guilty because I was taking away his fun. And we had planned on this concert for like a year, but very unexpectedly, that hit me.
Yeah. And how did your husband react?
He was upset, although he was calm about it. He didn't show me he was upset. He didn't act angry, but I could tell he was really disappointed.
Yeah.
Um, but I put myself first, which I probably wouldn't have done in the past. And I said, I'm not doing it. So the choice is we leave or you can go in and I will just go sit outside and wait for the concert to be over. It was, a summer night. It was nice out. I'm like, that's the choice. And he decided to leave. And probably it was a couple of months later, he was able to talk about it and say that he was disappointed, but he understood. And that's when he said, knowing about PTSD is really different from living with somebody who has it.
Oh, light bulb.
Light bulb. Because day to day, I'm really functional and you probably wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's actually really common. I know I'm the same way. But what would you tell people now who have been through something, whether it be some sort of assault or trauma or traumatic event? What would you say to those people now, given what you know, given everything that you've been through?
Be kind to yourself. Know that your feelings are real. Um, accept that this is a temporary thing, but you have the strength within you. You have to dig deep and find it and believe in yourself that you can get better and you can function. And then it is up to you to find someone or some things that can help you. And it's not any one thing. It's not just cognitive behavioral therapy or it's like a lot of different things. I did so many different things that now I realize that all those little things made a huge difference. Massage. No, uh, I even did like tarot cards and sound baths and all kinds of things that in the end added up. So none of those things are frivolous. Try it lots. If you don't like something, then you're not going to buy into it and it's not going to work. So hang in there. and find the joy in every day.
Great advice. Did you have guilt about healing?
Like,
What were some of the things that you did to deal with the guilt?
well, for a long time, I just kind of packed it up and put it in a closet on a shelf and didn't deal with it, to be quite honest with you. Um, I was fortunate enough to, there was someone that was killed in the bombing. And I was the last person to speak to that person. And I was doing research online and I saw an interview with this man's brother. And I decided to contact him. Hmm. So I did. And we ended up having several phone conversations, talked a lot about survivor's guilt. But that helped me enormously because it brought some closure to the whole situation. Um, so that was my biggest, I still feel bad about it. But I don't think I harbor the guilt that I used to. I also used to harbor guilt because I didn't think I was working hard enough, to get better. And now I realize that you only can do what you can do and you need to let things take their course and not get mad at yourself. Be kind, give yourself space. A pause is okay. If you can't do something, it's not the end of the world. Um, that's a different way of living that I had to find. Because I put a lot on myself. Why isn't I should be doing more,
Yeah.
get better faster?
Yeah.
Nah.
That yeah. That's also a misconception is that healing is linear. No. And there's a timeline for healing.
Exactly.
That's
It's
just
not.
not true. It's just forming new relationships over time with what's happened. Well, what is the name of your book?
My book is called Missing Pieces.
And where can we find it?
You can find it on Amazon.
Okay. I'll put the link in the show notes as well, so everyone has access to that.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, I really appreciate this opportunity to um, let people know what it's really like to live with PTSD. And I appreciate being able to have the voice to speak for others who have not yet found their voice, because I certainly did not have a voice many years ago. And I'm actually starting a second project. I'm writing a second book. And this one is going to be a resource for people with PTSD on things you can do outside of therapy. Quick and easy, not it costs nothing, free, but things that have helped me.
Nice.
Not a lot of theory, just a lot of experience. So that should be coming out in the next couple of years. So
Okay. Well, we'll watch for that. What does the future hold for Christy?
I am going to continue being an advocate for people with mental illness. What that looks like, I am not sure. And I'm always one that just kind of leaves the door open. And because I'm retired, I can do that. And I'm not doing this to make a living. So um, I'm just leaving the door open, hoping for more speaking opportunities. I'm going to write some more. We'll see where this takes me. I will continue working with my dogs because they've been a big part of my life. Um, and just enjoying every day.
Mm, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so appreciative that you were willing to share your story and your journey and everything with us today.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us on Fine, I'll Talk About It. If today's episode got you thinking, hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want more real talk, more perspective shifts, and more finally someone said it moments, leave a quick review. It helps other people find the show. You can connect with me on Instagram at Inspired Action Wellness for more conversations like this. See you in the next episode.